So I think at this point, the day before June, we can say that the NFL offseason is over. I mean, obviously, training camp, OTAs, all of that is part of the offseason, very important. But in terms of like player movement, I think we're good. Draft has been done for a while. We can really set and look at each of these teams. And today I'm grading their offseason. So we'll go in order of just division and everything. So Bills, I mean, Bills could not get any worse. Let's see the highlights. They had a decent draft. A decent draft. I mean, you replace. I I thought the Chargers got Marquez Valdez-Scantling. So that was wrong. This is why I looked it up just in case I made a mistake. But you replace Stephon Diggs with Keon Coleman, Curtis Samuel, Marquez Valdez-Scantling. This is, I mean, it's okay. I mean, you have like decent receivers, but you don't have you lose your star receiver, and I know Stephon Diggs did not play well for the Bills at all towards the end of the stretch, but I I mean they lost so much. They lost Jordan Poyer too. I think Micah Hyde is gone too. It's just too much loss for the Bills. The gain isn't horrible, but the loss is just too bad, and that's a D. Dolphins. All right, Dolphins had a good draft. They got a lot. Who did they get? Chop Robinson. They got in the draft. That's kind of the big guy, obviously, but that's a lot. Look at all this defensive depth they have. Jordan Poyer probably going to start. Be able to start for him. Jordan Brooks probably going to start for him. They locked up their entire. That's not right. No, it was Robert Hunt. Okay, no, Robert Hunt left for the Dolphins or Panthers. Jonnu Smith. They Odell is going to be the third-ish receiver. He'll probably nah. So Dolphins, honestly, the defense they definitely focus on defense. I love the Jordan Brooks acquisition. Love the Jordan Poyer acquisition also for like a defensive veteran too. Patriots, Jalen Rager, KJ. Obviously they weren't gonna do anything special. Locked up Christian Barmore, big extension. Locked up Kyle Duggar, good contract for Kyle Duggar too. I think the Patriots, honestly, and they had a good draft. They definitely had a good draft, but I'll put them in B. Josh Uche on that 1 year, $3 million deal is really good too. Jets, Tyrone Smith, who knows? You never know how Tyrone Smith is going to be. Morgan Moses, old, again, injury prone. So you got two injury prone tackles, but like if they're healthy, that's great. That's great, obviously. Mike Williams should be a really good target for Aaron Rodgers. Tyrod Taylor, just in case fearing the worst. Son Reddick off the edge too. Solomon Thomas. Oh, he was on the team already. Hmm. They got Javon Kinlaw too. It's like some of these I just don't see. Like I know that's bad. I should see them, but some of these I just don't see. And I talked about how much I like Fashanu for the reasons of Morgan Moses and Tyrone Smith are always injured. That's an A off season for the Jets. I can't put it S, but I'll put it A. Now Ravens, Derrick Henry. It just makes this elite. I think they had the best draft or top three at least. Nate Wiggins getting him in the draft. Who else? Trying to remember who else they've gotten in the draft because it was like forever ago and it's my thing and I know they draft. Had a great draft. Oh, Devon Tez Walker could honestly get a lot of playing time for him. I should look up the drafts, but I'm not. I'm not. I'm just gonna be stupid. I really like the Ravens offseason. I mean, they didn't do a lot, but they were the best team in the NFL. So I'm gonna only give them A because they were the best team in the NFL last year. I know they didn't win the Super Bowl, but for pretty much the entire year they were. So you didn't have to do much. Got a couple targets, and Derrick Henry is just icing on the cake. The biggest luxury pick you can ever imagine. Bengals, T. Higgins, you kept, which for now we'll call it good. Trent Brown, they seem to they just be going tackle to tackle to tackle, just different tackles. They just have no consistency at tackle from year to year. I love Mike Gesicki. I love this acquisition. And what was the other one? Amarius Mims, if he's healthy, he can start right away for this team. You address the offensive line like you do every year. So I'll give them a B. Just, again, Trent Brown is really the big one. Mike Gesicki, I like, yeah. I mean, is that also we'll talk about Joe Mixon loss, and then is this who you're replacing him with? I don't know. Not to hate on Zach Moss, but you go from Joe Mixon to Zach Moss, it's not great. Browns, They have infinite running. They said we don't know how Nick Chubb is going to be next year, so let's just get some guys, Dante Foreman and Nyheim Hines. We don't know how Deshaun Watson is going to be. Let's get some quarterbacks to boost up the competition. Jerry Jeudy. Let's get some more wide receivers. Let's go from LSU to Alabama wide receivers. I like this offseason. I'd say Darius Smith off the edge too. I forgot. That happened forever ago. That feels like forever ago. I thought it was last year's offseason. That's how long this happened. Give the Browns a B. Maybe I'm gonna definitely change this. I have a lot of guys high. Steelers, you get quarterback 1 and you get quarterback 2. How good are they? I don't know. Van Jefferson, Scotty Miller will be rotational. Cordell Patterson, a lot of rotational wide receivers. You have a lot of guys you can mix in here with George Pickens too. Who did they draft in the first round? Oh my God, Washington guy. Oh my God. Oh, this is gonna kill me. Troy Fautano. Thank you. Oh my God. Got Patrick Queen on. That's a big deal for Patrick Queen. And he was like really good his rookie year. Then he struggled. Contract year, great. Dante Jackson, I like that acquisition. They really need help at corner. So, I'm gonna give them C just because I just don't know what they also had a very good draft, so maybe I will put them B. Nah, C, because you really the quarterback situation is just a mess. Maybe. Justin Fields is good, it's not a mess. If Russell Wilson is good, it's not a mess. But I just don't know. You really don't know. Texans, I don't even need to think. Let's be honest, they had the best offseason. They have to win the offseason Super Bowl. Joe Mixon, 7th round pick. I know you're going to have to pay the man. Or they may have already done. Stephon Diggs, 2nd round pick. Nico Collins, lock him up. Ben Skoranek could just be a good savvy veteran. Dalton Schultz, lock him up. Denico Autry, let's bolster this defensive line. You see all of this? And then the icing on top of bolstering this defensive line is getting one of the most underrated edge rushers in the entire league, and Danielle Hunter, who's getting love again after just spending a lot of time injury. Go upgrade Aziz Al-Shalier. Played really well for the Titans last year. They got a lot of Titans. And cornerback, and it's a weird cornerback room. Or a weird cornerback. Desmond King. They had Desmond King. Okay, what am I talking about? I forgot they had Desmond King. TJ Henderson, Jeff Okudah, guys who were very high draft picks in 2020 who didn't live up to the hype, but you never know. You never know. I mean, it's just such an elite offseason. They went from like the young, fun team to like, yo, we may go out and make the Super Bowl next year. I think this is honestly, my opinion, top 3 team in the AFC. You can honestly convince me that they're 2 behind the Chiefs. You can honestly say they're more talented than the Chiefs, but it's just hard to put anybody above the Chiefs. Next, the Colts. Joe Flacco, Michael Pittman. You had to lock up Michael Pittman. Forrest Buckner, they locked up too. That's not a horrible contract, but this just is like resign. And then Trey Sermon. So, it really is just everybody re-signing. And you get Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco's probably the best acquisition. Well, there's like 2 of them. But who did they get in? Latu. They had a weird draft too. They were kind of like not really positions in need of more. That's why available, which I respect. So I'm gonna give them a C. They didn't do much. They didn't do anything bad. With Anthony Richardson, hopefully Anthony Richardson's healthy because the ceiling of the team is pretty good and maybe divisional round. Jaguars, Mac Jones. Who cares? Gabe Davis, what is your receiving core now? It's not Zay Jones. You did cut Zay Jones, which Gabe Davis, Brian Thomas Jr., and Christian Kirk. You hate losing Calvin Ridley, but what were you going to do? You're not going to pay him that contract. Mitch Morse and Ezra Cleveland, that's great. Their offensive line looking good now. Josh Allen is a big contract, but you had to do it. You had no choice. Eric Armstead used to get the pull out of the Niners releasing him. So I love the Armstead acquisition. I don't mind the Gabe Davis. That contract is not great, but again, it's like 39 with the max value. It's very similar to what they did with Christian Kirk, just not on a bigger scale. I can't give, honestly, Bills, yeah, and Jaguars D. Nah, Jaguars C. I can't blame them for not giving that Calvin Ridley contract. I just can't. And speaking of it, that's a huge contract. A huge contract. 50 million guarantee is not bad. That is a big contract. Mason Rudolph, QB1 of the future now. They took their offense and they completely revamped it. Out goes Derrick Henry. Let's go a little younger, a little worse. Get Tony Pollard. 3 years, 24 million. Good contract. Tyler Boyd, that's your slot guy. Calvin Ridley and DeAndre Hopkins playing on the outside. Tackles is a mess. I would say like this is a Will Levis. It has to be good this year. His tackles are so bad. I mean, J.C. Latham, top 10 pick, but who knows? You never know with top 10 tackles. Don't even know who their other tackle is. Couldn't tell you. Lloyd Cushenberry signed a big deal. Kenneth Murray, I like on the defense. I love Sebastian Joseph Day. What did they give up? 3rd and a 7th for like a top 10, top 15 corner in the league. That's a great, you have to put stuff around your top quarterback. It's just what you have to do, but they didn't do so. Maybe you can really sell me on. You can tell me on the Jaguars not giving Calvin Ridley the money and Titans giving Calvin Ridley the money. It's just the Titans just lose too much on defense. That's really it. But L'Jarius Sneed, they gain. So I don't know. They're flirting between B and A. I'm going to leave them in B. Dolphins, this is actually taking a lot longer than I thought. But I'm literally just like, it's just like I'm looking at these off seasons for the first time because a lot of this I just don't see. Dolphins, what did Dolphins do? Levi Wallace, cool. John Franklin Myers, actually, it's a pretty good acquisition. Josh Reynolds, Little Jordan Humphrey, Zach Wilson. Lose Russell. Honestly, I really just wanted to give the Dolphins an F. Give the Dolphins an E. Because there's nothing there. They did absolutely nothing. Did they even have their first round? Oh, they got Bo Nix. They did, and they got Troy Franklin. You know what? I'll give them a D because they got their possible quarterback of the future. Bo Nix, you do the right thing of getting rid of Russell Wilson. It's just paying that dead money. I almost wanted to give them an F just for the offseason 2 years ago, but not. And Josh Reynolds was good for you last year. Or good for the Lions last year. I didn't know he actually left them. Alright, so the Chiefs, I don't know how you would categorize their off-field stuff. It's like with Rashee Rice, with their tackles, with the marijuana possession, with everything. But I think really they could not have had a worse offseason in terms of off-the-field stuff. But I'm not going to blame the Chiefs for that. And Marquise Brown's a good acquisition. Xavier Worthy in that offense is elite. Earth to Myth, that's a good secondary tight end to have. Trading, I know you had to trade L'Jarius Sneed, but trading L'Jarius Sneed hurts. It hurts. So, really, the Chiefs, with everything that's going on this F, they may have had a worse offseason in the NFL, which is kind of crazy. But, not their fault, so I'll give them a D. Raiders, what did the Raiders get? Alexander Madison, that's your new wide receiver, running back 1. Michael Gallup, I like Jalen Guyton. It's a decent receiving core. Offensive line help. Cody White here, sure. Christian Wilkins, that was it. But losing Josh Jacobs hurts. I know, no paying running backs. But Christian Wilkins kind of does make up for it. They flirt between these two. Who do they draft? They didn't even have a first round pick. It would be very Raiders to not have a first round pick, and I just don't remember if they do. Who did the Las Vegas Raiders draft? Oh yeah, Brock Bowers. Let's see. Middle of the pack. Chargers, you lose your entire offense, which is not good. You get DJ Chark and Lad McConkey to replace it. Joel, obviously. Draft-wise, they definitely helped upgrade the offense. It's a great way to replace Austin Eckler, is just take the Ravens running back. Hayden Hurst, Will Dissly, upgrade at tight end. They needed to upgrade at tight end for a while. Denzel Perriman's a cool acquisition. You lose your entire offense. It's like the same as the Bills. They just lost too much. Now, finally, the NFC. Jeez, I really realize how long this has taken, but elite Ezekiel elite Dallas Cowboys. You bring back Zeke, Royce Freeman. It's definitely not going to replace Tony Pollard's production the past couple of years. Eric Kendricks is cool. They did nothing. They did nothing. And honestly, when you have to do what the Cowboys had to do in order to be a Super Bowl contender, they just did not do it. So, Giants, I love the Giants offseason. Devin Singleton, you lose Saquon Barkley. But guess what? I'm going to talk. Talk as a Giants fan. What you are paying Brian Burns and Devin Singletary is how much the Eagles and the Packers are paying, or $5 million more than what the Eagles and the Packers are playing. Xavier McKinney is safety and Saquon Barkley running back, and you get a top 10 edge rusher in the league, around top 10-ish edge rusher in the league, and a decent running back one. I'm taking that every day of the week. You get Malik Neighbors at wide receiver. Love that. Who else did they draft? Andrew Phillips. Loved Andrew Phillips. But, the only thing is he's, the third Giants. 3 times in 4 years the Giants have drafted a slot corner. And Cordell Flott's probably the best one. He had a decent rookie year, but doesn't really work out. You upgrade the offensive line, you get John Runyon. Needed to do that. You needed to do it more. Jermaine Illuminor, in case of Evan Neal sucks. Isaiah Simmons back. Darnay Holmes back. You get Jalen Mills as whatever defensive depth. I've been trying to stall because I don't remember their second round pick. Again, this is really bad that I don't remember their second round pick. Yeah, Neighbors. Tyler Nubin. Yeah, you needed to upgrade on safety. You're just immediate Xavier McKinney placement. But it's just the Brian Burns. A second round pick for an edge rusher of that quality and that age. Every day. Every day of the week, I will do that. No hesitation whatsoever. I can't give the Giants. I don't think I can give any team S, but the Giants are A. Eagles, they pushed the chips all in. A.J. Brown, locked. Devontae Smith, locked. Landon Dickerson, locked. Let's get some tight end depth. That's great tight end depth. I'm ignoring one on purpose. J.J. Gardner-Johnson, he's back. Devin White, he kind of sucks. Bryce Huff, pretty decent replacement for Hassan Reddick, but it's really hard to replace Hassan Reddick. Paris Campbell, wide receiver 4 probably for them. Yeah, wide receiver 3, wide receiver 4. Kenny Pickett, the best acquisition. Okay, but you just add Saquon Barkley on top of this, and you're like, yeah, I mean, you just added Saquon Barkley to the Eagles' offense. It's insane. And they did a decent job upgrading the defense. They went heavy on defense in the draft, too. They got Cooper DeJean, and they got, yeah, I'm going to do this. They got Cooper DeJean, and they got, what's-his-face, Quinion Mitchell in the draft. They go heavy on defense against Saquon Barkley. It's crazy. Next, Austin Eckler. I don't love it. I mean, again, anything I think if you're getting a rookie quarterback and you have a rookie quarterback, a second-year quarterback, a third-year quarterback, you are allowed to overpay. Obviously, you don't have to pay the quarterback, so you can overpay on some guys. Obviously, this I'm not saying they overpaid on Austin Eckler, but it's this hinders Brian Thomas's development of looking like he's going to be one of the better backs in the league. But you're just taking pressure off your quarterback. That's it. Jamison Crowder, Zacchaeus. Pressure off your quarterback if you not great receivers, obviously. You upgrade your offensive line. Just anything you can do to help Jaden Daniels is really what you are doing. You did a good job on the defense too. Bobby Wagner, very veteran on the defense. Jeremy Chin, really like Jeremy Chin. You also go Mikey Samuel still in the draft. It's a good acquisition for a slot corner. Probably will start a slot corner for them right away. Washington actually, I really didn't realize how good of a offseason Washington had. They didn't upgrade at wide receiver. Now I'll keep them at B. It's close to A, but you really just did a good job trying to get some initial pieces around Jaden Daniels. And Jaden Daniels is part of that offseason too. Bears, you now okay. Now I'm glad I put them in Commanders and B because they did not do what the Bears did to help their quarterback. Get Keenan Allen, get a top 10 receiver, Roma Dunce. DeAndre Swift is your running back one. Khalil Herbert's going to be a great running back two. Their offensive line was already pretty good. You really have to upgrade on that, and this is all depth and everything. It's pretty good. You get Kevin Byard too. That's a great acquisition. Jalen Johnson, I honestly did not think he was going to stay with the Bears, but you lock him up. This is, and obviously you get the number one pick quarterback. It's kind of like a luxury from last offseason, which obviously looks so great when you with the trade of the number one pick, but you still got Caleb Williams in this offseason. So. Yeah, S is fine. Lions just went, we are going to lock up the entire team of last year. Jared Goff, big contract locked up. Amon-Ra St. Brown, big contract locked up. Graham Glass, no, not that big contract locked up. Penei Sewell, big contract locked up. Let's go. Is Carlton Davis play? I forget. No, who did it? Carlton Davis is playing. You get Terrion Arnold to be another corner. I forgot one of your cornerbacks. Who was it? Cam Sutton. Cam Sutton did something. I don't think Cam Sutton's playing now. DJ Reader, that's great. Just build in the trenches. They really did get Kevin Saylor too. Donovan Peoples-Jones is definitely going to be your Josh Reynolds replacement. You did what you needed to do. And you didn't really need to upgrade. You needed to upgrade corner, and that was the biggest need. And a little bit of your defensive line, which Davenport, DJ Reader is pretty good. You really needed to upgrade corner, and the Cam Sutton thing is not their fault. But Carlton Davis and Terrion Arnold is about the best you could have probably got. Obviously, you could have maybe gotten the Jerry, like stuff like that, but that's just saying that a lot. They did what they needed to do. They needed to lock up everybody for this team, and they did that like to the max. Packers, AJ Dillon resigns, and now you bring in Josh Jacobs. It's a luxury. It's a big contract though. Way too big of a contract for me. 12 years or 44 years, $12 million a year. Xavier McKinney, also a big contract. I'm not in love with their draft. Obviously, getting two big acquisitions like that, you say like, oh, that's great. Like the Packers can look really good next year. And in terms of getting closer to win the Super Bowl, they did that. But in terms of hindering your long-term success of re-signing guys, that's gonna hurt. That's gonna hurt. Jordan Love is gonna hurt. But you have to sign Jordan Love at one point. So in that 4-year window, so I think you may have screwed yourself for the next 3 years. And your Super Bowl window is not open yet. You're not ready. You just have so many young guys. I don't think the Packers are ready yet. Vikings, you get your franchise quarterback in J.J. McCarthy in the draft and Dallas Turner. Obviously, everybody loves the Vikings top of the draft. Aaron Jones, 1 year, $7 million. It's not bad. Let's see what else they get. Sam Darnold, veteran QB, whatever. You get some defensive depth. I'm not like I'm looking at these and like nothing. Obviously, Jonathan Grenard stands out. Actually, it's a big acquisition. Wait. So they just traded, them and the Texans just traded edge rushers again. Hurts the Vikings a little bit. You get your franchise QB. You already had a lot of surrounding him. You really didn't need to focus on getting guys. You already had Jordan Addison. You already had Justin Jefferson. You already had a really good offensive line. And you replace your running back, Alexander Madison. You upgrade that with Aaron Jones. Falcons. I don't know if I have to do it. Give them an F. Because, like, what the screen I'm looking at here, that's a good offseason. It is. Kirk Cousins, you're pushing your chips all in. I really don't mind the contract that much. Darnell Mooney, Rondale Moore, let's upgrade the receiving core. Hopefully Drake London can break out, Defense, you already had a really good defense. You need to push a lot into the defense. But then it's just drafting Michael Penix. It's just drafting Michael Penix that makes me say the Falcons just why. It's just because it invalidates this. 4 years, 180. It's a lot of money. And you just completely invalidated it. And it affects their draft and it affects that Kirk Cousins contract. So it's like, I don't know. The rest of the it could have been like a C tier offseason, but I can't do anything else with it. Like you just fucked up your entire offseason. Panthers, they did an underrated job of getting guys. Didn't really go after tackle, but let's upgrade the interior. Robert Hunt, a lot of money. It's a big contract for Robert Hunt. Damian Lewis, again, a big contract, but you're going all in. Edge rusher, these are rotational edge rushers. Maybe Clowney gets on the field more. Dane Jackson did sign a 2-year deal. I know they lost Dante Jackson. Deontay Johnson, that's he's gonna get open. He didn't score touchdowns a lot, but you need guys who are gonna get open. That's really what you need for young wide receivers. Is Deontay Johnson? He's not really one of those guys. He isn't. Forget what I just said. So forget everything I just said over the past minute about getting guys open. Oh, if Derek Brown extension too big. They got Xavier Legette and Deontay Johnson, who are not guys who are gonna get yourselves open and a lot. That's really what you need with a younger quarterback, but you got wide receivers nonetheless. See, I like a Legette. Maybe you want more of a McConkey guy, but Legette, lead after the catch, obviously big body. Deontay Johnson. I mean, you got guys. You also, Adam Thielen was perfect for that last year as a guy who was just getting open and really helping Bryce Young. And you just hammered running back. Man, what do you have? Miles Sanders, Chuba Hubbard, Rashad Penny, and Jonathan Brooks. They have one of the deepest running back room in the NFL. So they focus on helping Bryce Young, and that's really all you can ask for. They put effort into doing that. They didn't do the best, but they did not do the worst. New Orleans. Yeah. Man, yeah. I don't know what to say for New Orleans. They didn't do anything. They signed Trace Young, which is cool for a 1-year deal. I just can't say anything about them. They just don't have a lot going for them. That's really it. I mean, I love the Talisa Fuaga pick, but just didn't do anything. Boring. Tampa, Baker Mayfield, you had to. You just had to after last year. Say what you want. You had to make this contract. It's not even that bad of a contract. Mike Evans. I honestly thought Mike Evans was leaving. I did not think Mike Evans was staying. You keep him. You get Grant Barron in the draft. That upgrades your offensive line. Lock up your shouldn't be. Was Antoine Winfield swapped from the Pro Bowl and All-Pro? I'm pretty sure he is. Well, if he is, you should lock him up anyway. Who cares? Jordan Whitehead, you have back. That's a good safety duo. And then it's losing Shaq Barrett. It was going to happen, but it does hurt. He's been so good for you the past few years. Again, Tampa Bay needed to do something in a position to get better, and they didn't. They're kind of moved laterally. And once you win the division and you're not trying to rebuild anymore, I think you had to push up, especially you have a lot of Asian guys on your team. So, I can't say anything bad about it because they didn't lose a lot of guys, but you had to push more, and I don't think they did. Next, Arizona, Desmond Ridder, elite. Really? That was a trade? I should learn more stuff, man. Anyway, Zay Jones, I really like. Marvin Harrison Jr. You're getting some guys. You're trying to fledge out any wide receiving core because they don't have any wide receiving core. Anyway, let's see. What else did they do in the draft? They got Johnny Newton. No, they didn't. The Commanders got Johnny Newton. Who did the Cardinals draft in the second round? I keep forgetting, man. It's not like me. I'm supposed to be the guy who remembers. Sean Murphy, Bunting, cool. They didn't do a lot. I mean, they were just bad, and they got a couple wide receivers. This is kind of just the prove a year for Kyler Murray. Again, a team that just could have done more. Rams. Is this the final team? No, not even close. Jimmy Garoppolo, cool. Kevin Dotson, cool. Jonah Jackson, very cool actually. Upgrade. I shouldn't make fun of this. They really put in a lot of effort to upgrade the interior of the offensive line. Why am I making fun of that? I don't know. Corner room, Tre'Davious White and Darius Williams. It's a great corner room. And Cam. Did not realize Cam Curl was even a free agent. Honestly, Not a lot, and they got Jared Verse, and they got I talked about the Braden Fish trade and pick that I just don't love the Braden Fish trade because of the schemes and everything. But I like their draft just as with players. They got a lot of good players. They just didn't get a lot of players. But you're sitting with the older roster. You're a 9-win team, and you did make a push. You made a significant push to get better. Were they a 10-win team? They were a 10-win team, and they made a significant push to get better. 49ers. See what they did. They got Ricky Pearsall. I didn't love. I didn't hate. Really needed to upgrade on corner, and then the one thing they did not upgrade a lot of is corner. They really needed corner help. But the one bright side is Leonard Floyd. Actually, a good acquisition. No, the one really bright side is that you are seemingly going into the year with Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuel, at least for now. That changes their entire offseason. I'll give them a C for that, just for keeping them, but that's it for now. And finally, the Seattle Seahawks. Sam Howell apparently is looking really good in OTAs and everything. Maybe that's just competition for Geno. Geno's going to be the starter no matter what. The Laviska Shenault, hopefully he can be utilized unlike the Panthers utilize him. Noah Fant's back. You lost Damian Harris, so did you replace him? Nah. Did they replace him? Who did Seattle draft? They were Byron Murphy. You needed the help on the interior defensive line, so I don't mind that. Leonard Williams, you definitely upgrade your defensive line, but you have a lot of holes on the interior of the offensive line now. Tackles are great and everything, but you have holes on the interior of the defensive line, and they replaced Jerome Baker, or Jordan Brooks with Jerome Baker. They kind of went replacement for a couple of guys. Again, just didn't do much. Another team that I thought should push and not move laterally, but they seem to move pretty laterally. But when you lose one of your starting guards to a big contract, when you lose some guys on the defensive line, and whatever, you lose that, you lose this, it's gonna hurt. And so I don't blame them as much as like I do the Buccaneers, but I'm gonna end up putting them in the same tier. So, I hate to hate. I'm very much like a person who likes to look at the bright side of off seasons and like, more focus on the wins than the losses. So that's kind of why there's more higher teams. Obviously, like Dallas didn't really do anything, and I think when you're in that position, Dallas has to do something. In Atlanta with just a disaster of everything with the draft. So maybe I'm pushing teams up too high, but we'll talk about the Texans obviously are ass. I think the Eagles, they did what they needed to do on defense, and they got a luxury pick too. Bears turned themselves into like playoff contenders, and the Lions kept their teams around. The Jets, Ravens, Giants, Rams all significantly upgraded their teams. Everybody in the B tier had good off seasons, didn't have great off seasons. They had some bad, some good. C tier, a lot of teams that didn't do anything. Same with D. It's just something like some teams who lost everything. Maybe you can say, the Bills should be lower, but like you can also argue Stephon Diggs getting rid of him was a good thing, and then. Whatever, I'm ranting. I've said all of this for the past, whatever. Thank you guys for watching. Join the Discord server. See you.